But the next thing I'm going to try and do is probably get my system set up for playing Elite Dangerous, and I might add that as a, or at least put up a trial balloon on that one and see how that's received. It's not going to be an easy game to be totally interactive with the stream, although that said, if you're not getting shot at, you're just in general travel. It's not like Truck Sim where you're trying to avoid trees and stay on the road and not ground your truck out on a crash barrier. So that, you know, that may be a better, an easier stream than say Truck Sim. The issue I have with Truck Sim is, you know, I kind of prefer, personally, if I'm playing solo, I prefer to do something like a 45-minute run. So I just pick up a load and then drive for 45 minutes and drop it off. But reading chat is very, very difficult when you're driving a truck. So it means I can't be interactive for those times. So when I'm streaming, at least solo, I'll do 10-minute runs. So I can check chat at the pickup point, drive for 10 minutes and talk, and then check chat when I get to the drop-off point, drop it off, pick up the next load, check chat before I leave again, you know, leave for the next journey. And my feelings are that works a little bit better. But I haven't played Elite Dangerous in 2 years. So I'm going to be really rusty on that. But it'll be, you know, it's something I can do on a stream. And it'll probably, you know, it'll be a later stream. Because if you're in the middle of a combat, you can't drop everything to deal with the child. So, for those of you who hadn't noticed, I am playing on the 1.3 beta patch for Farm Sim 19. Which means if you look at the lower right side of the screen where we've got the speedometer and the number of hours the combine's been running and what have you, to the left of that you've got the content bar, which in in patch 1.2 you just had the soybean icon and the yellow thermometer graph. Well, now you've got the litres of content, the percentage content, and the content name. So now you don't have to remember that funny little symbol means soybeans, because it tells you, hey, soybeans. Downloaded a mod today. Oh, that's going to bug me. I downloaded one of the mods today, which was something I thought, oh, I really wanted that to be in the game for so long. I can't remember what it was. Ugh. That's going to bug me now. It's one of the one of the quality of life mods that tend to be make things easier. It's like the clock at the top right of the screen that tells you what the time is locally for me. So I'm now at 9 o'clock in the evening, but I can see just by glancing up there, I don't have to look around to figure out what time it is. I know one of the British YouTubers not only has the time, he also has the date. So you can see, at least on YouTube, you can see that, oh well, this video was recorded in 3 weeks ago, and that kind of gives you a clue of well, commenting on his play, it's probably a bit late and he might have figured it out by now, because 3 weeks ago is a long time ago. Lots of stuff. What name is bugging me now? A logging trailer, a refueling point. Oh, there was the Rostel Mash small forage harvester, which is significantly cheaper than the in-game forage harvesters. Get to the point where I'm going to need to exit and look it up, because I'm going to fill this thing up first, and then we'll see.
Then take your covers off, but you need to stay in bed. You should be asleep already, darling.
The logic of children. Need to sleep under the covers, but it's hot. Well, you don't need to sleep under the covers if you're hot. I think they've got 2 blankets and a sort of a duvet thing. So yeah, they're probably hot. The coolest part of our house is the basement. Because really the heating system's probably only spec'd for the upstairs, and the downstairs has been fitted and there's extra venting down there, but it does tend to not get the heat during the winter and gets overly cool in the summer, because the upstairs will get so hot that the AC's blasting out cold air, and that cold air gets all around the basement and keeps it very cool. Personally, I like cool. I don't know if it's a winter child thing or what, but I've never liked hot temperatures. First time I had to go to California on business, and I went for a month, and I was dreading going there because I hate hot weather. California is hot, or at least Southern California is hot. When I got there, it was surprisingly comfortable because it's a desert, and part of the problem I have with being hot is you perspire and your clothes get soaked and you just can't cool off. Well, in California, because it's a desert, it's dry, and so you perspire and it evaporates and it cools you down, and your clothes don't end up soaking wet. I mean, your antiperspirant doesn't last long in that temperature, but yeah, it's not an uncomfortable heat like being in a swamp is an uncomfortable heat. England is bad news when it gets hot because it's an island and it's surrounded by water, so there is a lot of moisture, and pretty much it's always raining somewhere in England, because even on hot days the seas evaporate, create clouds, the clouds come inland, and there's some good sized mountain ranges across England, and as soon as the clouds hit the mountain ranges, they need to get, to continue their journey, they need to lose some weight, so it rains, and consequently England is humid heat, it's not dry heat, and it's very uncomfortable, and very few buildings there have air conditioning. I remember 20, 30 years ago, some of the best place to go if it was a steaming hot day was McDonald's, because they had air conditioning units over the doors, so you walk in and you got this blast of cold air, and you sort of walk in, it's like, yes. Right. How are we doing? I need to keep an eye on the load here if I don't want to destroy half my crop. 92%. Now, I can't remember what the tank size on this harvester is. This is the only map I used it on. Primarily because Estancia, Lapacho and this harvester came out on the same day. So I figured, we'll use as many mods that came out today as possible. The Deutsch 6.61 also came out on the same day, so I've been using that as well. Actually, now that we've got the new one, I could actually sell that one and replace it. $99, 6,300? Nope, 6,400. 6,350, I don't know. Stop guessing and drive. Whoa, there we go. 6,340. Lovely, nice round number. What? Okay, we need to go get ourselves. There we go. We need to go and get ourselves a tractor. Now, normally I'll use the Valtra. Why have we stopped walking? I'll usually use the Valtra for this, because at 201 horsepower it can haul pretty much anything in this trailer. Although Maypole, I picked up the Flegel trailer that is similar to this, three tiers of panelling, and can be, you can take the sides off and use it as a bale trailer. The downside with it is it doesn't have a canopy, so you can't store stuff in it. You can't store stuff in it when it rains, and it also has slightly larger capacity too, about 18,300 litres at the maximum. This one only goes to 12,000. Although I think selling the 6.61 and buying the 2 point whatever one, it's a bit of a cheat because the tractor costs significantly less. I don't actually know how big this field is now. So something I should consider on this map is chopping a few more trees down, although I really dislike the trees on this map for logging. If I can chop down 25 trees, then I can get the tree chopping achievement checked off. It's probably the map I've done the most logging on, because I chopped down a fair number of trees along the back there to make room for the field expansion. So I'm going to check odds. Oh, the workshop tabber. That was it. Yes, I knew something had come out today. Excuse me. I will take it back over from the... Yeah, we need to check on that, because that is a big quality of life improvement. I'll leave that on a worker. We'll go and check on that now. So, in theory, we start this up. We'll pull forward. I will put the sprayer on the back and a weight on the front. We will go and see what's what at the workshop. Kind of a heavy piece of kit on the back. So we grab that weight and go and stick ourselves in the workshop. Stop. So now apparently we do that I can repair the tractor. If I press the tab button, oh look, it's the sprayer, and if I press it again I should get the weight. That is awesome. I kind of would have liked it if it had an arrow, so I could tab forwards and backwards, but hey, being able to tab through each thing at the workshop, that's a big improvement. So I can repair that, and I can repair that. Oh, oops. And then it paused a bit, and then I can repair that. Yes. So that is a decent mod. Available on the in-game mod hub. Download it, include it in every game. Definitely worth it. Especially where you've got, you know, it's not such a problem on this map because I can pull the harvester up to the workshop, drop off the header and fix the header directly. But if on some harvesters where you pretty much don't have a choice but to include the header trailer, and it's not like you can take the header off because the workshop's in a building. Yeah, I think on Marwell Manor I had to be very, very careful about where I positioned the header trailer, because if it was too far into the workshop, then it always came up and said, oh, you want to do something with the header trailer? It was sort of, no, I want to fix the header. Sort of, it would not give me the header option. But if I pulled almost all the way out so that the header trailer wasn't in the workshop area, but a bit of the, you know, very, very small part of the header I could tag the header for a repair. I do not know if that's a Giants mod or a third-party mod, I must admit. I didn't pay any attention. I just saw, yay, workshop tabber. I need it now. It's incredibly important, so jump back in there and turn the worker off. Oops, no, don't turn the engine off. Oh, we missed a bit. And frankly, I don't care if it's Giant mod or a third-party mod. It's something that should have been in the game from the get-go. Should have been in Farm Sim 17 for all, and yeah. But it's there, it's a mod, it's available in the game hub. Suppose I could try go back and find it again. Hang on a sec. History. There's also a placeable camper that I did not see in the mod hub. Yeah. So there's the Fleaglewood trailer, the fuel station. Oh, there was also a front cultivator. 3-meter wide cultivator, so you can stick that on the front of a tractor and stick a 3-meter seeder on the back and do all of it in one go. So who did the workshop tabber? The workshop tabber is According to this site, Lord Banana. I would, yeah. I don't believe it was in the list of most popular mods. You needed to click on the show all mods deal. And I don't know if it contains a script and thus is a problem for console. And I don't have a console, so I have no way of finding out. But, missed. Okay. Forwards, backwards. Sounds like the kiddies have gone to sleep, maybe. So the bison harvester, not one I have used yet. Kind of amusing, really. I haven't picked a map that it was actually a default piece of equipment on. With the harvesters, I've used that one because I didn't want to use that one. I've used that one, that's nice. But then more recently, this one came out same day as Estancia Lapacho, so I've used this one on Estancia Lapacho, and then this one just came out last week, which is a more modern New Holland. So rather than using that one, hey, use this one. And I included that on my Maypole playthrough on Sunday, or Maypole Extended First Look on Sunday. However, we didn't get round to harvesting anything, so I haven't got to drive it anywhere except from the store to the yard. I had to do that twice because I needed a corn header and a regular cereal crop header. Okay, you take care, Scorch. I'll try not to do anything video worthy for the rest of the session. I think Sundays was a special case of, yeah, that deserves a oh dear video of its own. How do we do it? 85%. Seems to me the only times I ever roll bale trailers is when I don't have a tractor with a front loader that has enough weight to right the trailer, so I have to end up depositing all of the bales on the road and either reloading the trailer or taking them all on the forks to market, which means that the trip takes 10 times longer than it would have done if I'd not rolled the trailer. And yeah, eventually I will load. What was it? The new version of GPS. I kind of play that automatically on Farm Sim 17 because I've been driving these things in straight lines for over a year before that first came out, and I figured out how it worked. So I get to take things easy now on Farm Sim 17. On Farm Sim 19, I'll give it a while, but eventually I'll just say, yeah, GPS, need that. I may even bite the bullet and say, yeah, courseplay. I need to figure out how that works. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, just smashed a load more crop again because I wasn't paying attention. But Marwell Manor is a pain in the butt when it comes to solo farm play. Yeah, my opinion is the fields are way too big for the equipment that you can fit around that yard. Or especially, with the equipment you can afford at the beginning. And so it takes, with a plough, it takes about 4 or 5 hours to plough field 18. Right. So much so I leased a second plough in order to make the job go faster, but it still took a long time. And so it's kind of the sort of map that you really need to say, I need to figure out courseplay, and at least that way I can get on with stuff, because the fields are the wrong shape for workers. Where are we going with this stuff? I should probably check that. We have soybeans. Down to the harbour. Okay, we can go this way to the harbour. Because there's a number of times I've set a worker off on field 18 and he's ended up going on to field 15 and ripping up the crop I just planted in it, or something ridiculous like that. So being able to use courseplay means you can set up the perimeter of the field, go round 2 times, 3 times, and then do the rows up and down the middle. And workers just don't do that sort of thing. I'm not sure if they've implemented the auto unload on a harvester so that you can park a tractor at the side of the field, and when the harvester's full, the tractor will go and unload it. It's something that I know was possible on Farm Sim 17 version of courseplay, but I know that it's still in development and the programmers might not have got that far yet. It does all the main stuff like the field work, and as I said, Marwell Manor is not a single player friendly map. I'm kind of inclined to bring in Maypole Farm as one of the farms I expand to doing in March. I guess I spoke too early. The kids are not sleeping. this the... I think this is the harbour. Yeah. I just haven't been down this neck of the woods very much on this playthrough. Vast majority of good prices has been at the bakery, which is in the town. Okay, we are going to make ourselves a fair bit of money. Oh, 55. 18,000. Almost to the cent. Which side of the road do I drive on? This one. Been playing far too many UK maps. So I've seen there's a new map, Western Australia. Also another one I will probably not be featuring on my channel as a single player. You get 3 Challenger tractors ranging from about 400 to 650 horsepower. 2 big Agco harvesters with both corn and cereal headers. And it's a huge map with huge fields, but the fields are really dirt cheap. In new farmer mode, you start with every field. In any other mode, you start with the equipment, you start with all the buildings, you don't start with the land. And you start with obviously 1.25 million if you're a farm manager, or 500,000 if you're starting from scratch. But you do end up with all the equipment. And I've noticed that on a number of farms now. The Alpine map and New Bartleshaven, or whatever it's called, you start with the buildings, you start with the equipment. In new farmer mode, you start with 100,000 money and some land. And in farm manager mode, you start with lots of money and no land, but you still have all the equipment and the buildings. And the Alpine map, I did the same on that. I started new farmer mode because I figured, okay, I'm going to start off with a load of money and I can pick what I want. And I discovered, nope, you get all the farm buildings and you get all of the equipment we chose for you. You just don't get the land. And it's, I looked at that and said, well, I want to buy the yard. I don't necessarily want to buy the arable fields that you picked for me. I want to buy some of the grass fields because I want sheep. And so the equipment you've given me is no use. And what I did was I sold the harvester because I didn't buy any arable land. And I bought full grass cutting equipment, a large tractor that could operate the the Pottinger front mower and the butterfly mower for the back. I think I also went square bales on that one because they're big pastures. They're not, you can't fertilize them because they're not ploughed fields that are growing grass as a crop. But that gives you the option of, well, we could get a plough up the fields, reseed it as grass or as a crop and go from there. But I bought so much grass handling equipment that I didn't have enough money to buy a harvester, and I won't for quite a while, and the only option I have is to cut grass. I bought 3 plots of land, all of them grass fields, and wrapped 2 of them, and then tedded the third and stuck that in the hayloft and fed the sheep with it. Where are you going? Oh, okay, you're going there. But it's, as a map it's different. But let's say the ground you're working is too big for one person, which is a bit of a shame. I'm not sure how many people. Well, actually, I was going to say I'm not sure how many people would be into a multiplayer farm which just had access to grass. But buy yourself a couple of silage bunkers, and you could do grass silage till the cows come home. And if you did want to do arable crops, then in a multiplayer farm, you could get a couple of guys with a plough each and rip up a grass field in no time. I'm kind of looking at, as far as entertainment is concerned, I'm kind of looking at maps which have small fields. So Maypole is a wonderful map for streaming on that line. Downside is you're not going to see any big equipment. The harvester is going to be about as big as this one. You're going to have a couple of tractors that probably aren't over 200 horsepower, and most of your equipment is going to be 3 meter wide that mounts to the back of the tractor and it is not trailed around behind it. But even with small equipment, it only takes you 15 minutes to work a field and you're moving on to the next one, or you're moving on to the next job. Be interesting to see what they do with Old Stream Farm, because the first incarnation that I played on Old Stream Farm, you just had the central town and a couple of fields around the town. And so it was all, once again, very small equipment. Version 2 came out, and they expanded that to have a couple of very, very big fields. Well, not very big fields, but comparatively big fields. So you needed sort of a mid 200 horsepower tractor and 6 meter equipment to work it efficiently. But that 6 meter equipment you couldn't use in and around town. What I ended up doing was turning most of the arable fields inside of the town into grass and mowing them, because concentrated on arable on the big fields, or the bigger fields. Version 3 added seasons, handshaking into the mix, so you could run seasons on the map and it would play with all of the seasons rules. But Farm Sim 19's version of Old Stream Farm, it looks like they're doing a lot more stuff. I'll do the bottom. The roads are wider, and consequently, because the roads are wider, the farmyard is slightly changed. It still has the same feel to it as Farm Sim 17 version, but there are some subtle differences. But obviously the big thing is going to be how big are the fields. Are they big fields, or is it keeping its small, quaint little village with you know, fields hidden behind houses and shops and everything else. And depending on how big those fields are will dictate... Oh shoot, I've done it again. No, I haven't. What happened there? Oh, we have a bad... The ground is not level. So I just ripped up that ground, or the crop there, because the header wasn't in contact with it. It's a shame. But yeah, the size of the fields will dictate effectively the maximum size of equipment you can use. Now on this map, you can pretty much use anything, and you can start off with, you know, field 14, 11, 10, 13, 12, 11, 10, which are small fields, and I can get away with using entry-level equipment, and it's not that big of a problem. But there's no way I can take this equipment off to field 29, because it's going to take me a month of Sundays to harvest and plant and everything else. And because the field, because this field isn't, we don't have fences and impassable hedgerows around it. If I do buy bigger equipment, I can just work this field faster. It's not going to be restrictive. Whereas you look at Marwell Manor, and every field surrounded by a hedge that you can't always drive through, so you need equipment that can stay within the confines of the field without destroying the crop on the field. Okay, let's go back and see if we can do that bit there. Yeah, we got that bit. Okay, so when we're coming off this field, I can see what's happening here. There's a huge dip there. And were I so inclined, and if I still owned a plough, I would probably smooth that part of the field out so that it wasn't quite so unwieldy. Skills to get the entire crop width, and we've done it. And there's my tractor, so we can unload this. This is probably not a full load for that trailer. Not even close. We may be up to 10,000 litres total. So I think my tea is probably cold. Pretty much. Okay, we'll take a run over to field 11. So I'll set this off on a worker and run back and grab the Valtra and bring that over. We might do a bit of more of that. I think that field needs lime, so I might grab the Deutz and the spreader and do some liming while the worker takes care of this field for us. This is another field of soybeans, so we can run with this load. I don't have to go and empty the trailer again. It's a mistake I made on the first 2 harvests on this map, was different crop in each of these 2 fields, so I'd finish one, I'd have to run out and sell the load while the harvester was starting on the next field. Okay, I'll park that there. So I believe field 1 needs lime, or field 12 needs lime. Yes, indeed. Does not need ploughing. So let's get the lime spreader and do that thing. Hi, chickens. I did put narrow wheels on that spreader, so it can be used as a fertilizer. Grab a weight for the front of this as well. Which one of these is lime? That would be those 4. Okay. And the nice thing is, it should tell me as well, if I get close enough. There we go, and it does say lime. And out of range. And that's in range too. I am going to guess right now that I do not have enough lime to do that field. Now, the bit that I extended with does not need lime this time. However, I will do it now, because that will then put the entire field on the same schedule. Because otherwise I do half now, and the other half quite possibly next time we harvest. So while I don't need to do the northern half, if I do it all now, I don't have to get the lime out for 3 harvests. So that's a good thing. And that is done. Let's guess where to put the lime spreader for the next run. And about there, I figure. Pretty good guess. Still no sign of Arthur. Coming down on this pretty well, I think. Very close to an optimum spread, where I'm not wasting significant amounts. Although I don't think this field is perfect dimensions for this spreader. Oh, we're nearly out of lime anyway. Let's go fetch some more. I believe it's just on the other side of 10, so we'll sneak through. We won't sneak through anywhere if we run into a tree. I believe 10 was withered. I may be wrong. Sure looks like I was wrong. This looks like grass. Oh. That's been reseeded as grass. Oh, there's a thing. Open the lid. There we go. And I'm definitely liking these lime dispensers out in the middle of nowhere. For the most part, at least on Ravenport, and as far as I know Felsbrunn, and probably here, it costs the same as bags of lime. What am I doing? Close the lid. That's what I'm doing. But Marwell Manor, the lime dispenser on Marwell Farm, is cheaper than going to the store and buying big bags. But you use so much of it that it is far more convenient to have a dispenser on the farm. And yes, I do have the lime dispenser mod loaded, so that if a farm doesn't have a lime dispenser, I can add one relatively painlessly. I also got the seed and fertilizer and herbicide dispensers. However, they do cost more than a big bag does. I think some of them up to 30% more. I know on Lawfolds I checked the pricing. What's it? Dispensers versus purchase, and at least for the first year I did not use dispensers at all on the farm because the price difference was that significant. And yeah, when you start up a farm, you really don't have the money to be paying 30% over the odds for seed and fertilizer and everything else. Now, that farm at 5 years in, where I've got $500,000 in the bank most of the time, I'm still fairly frugal and will generally buy seed or fertilizer from the store. But yeah, if it gets to the end of planting season and I'm planting the last field and I need 200 litres of seed, yeah, I'll go and get some from the dispenser on the nearest farm. Because at that point, driving all the way to the store, getting 1,000 litres of seed and bringing it back with me and loading it into the seeder is going to cost me far more than the 30% more for 200 litres of seed that I actually need to put into the seeder. And we will do the end this time. Oh, hush. Sleep. Now, one thing I haven't used yet is the big bags with the sort of crane attachment, 3-point crane attachment, whatever it is, which I believe in some cases is cheaper than using the big bags. And there we go, limed and done. And I might as well check the other field. Okay, 11 is good for lime.